Okay, so you should have already watched our video for this unit, early days, where I talk about Paleolithic work in Africa. So now we're going to talk about Paleolithic art in South America. Okay, so this first site that we're going to talk about, Serra Azul, was originally discovered in the 1990s during the occupation of this region of the Amazon by the FARC, that's the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. The discovery by Carlos Castaño Uribe and others were, nonetheless, they were able to identify tens of thousands of remarkable rock art paintings and engravings in what is now Colombia's largest national park, even though this was during kind of a time of political unrest, right, and conflict. This is in Colombia's largest national park, which is called Chiribiquete. It was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2018. The ceasefire between the government and the FARC in 2016 allowed for more intensive investigations in the region into this very historically significant site, and that resulted in some of the earliest evidence of human occupation in the Amazon region, which is pretty rad. So this is like 12,500 years old. Okay. There we go. So let's look a little closer at this site. The study of the iconography of Serranía La Lindosa paintings will likely be the focus of considerable debate for years and years to come. The evidence of food remains from the excavation suggests only a partial overlap between what was eaten and what was depicted. So what that means is that these paintings weren't necessarily just cave people recording what they were hunting and what they were eating. They had some more, maybe deeper meaning. Originally, it was thought that this was maybe just a recording of animals in the area and what the people were eating. So it's now thought that there was a little more going on than that, all right? The imagery speaks to more complex subjects than just hunt animal, eat animal. Look at these look at these images. What do you see? Some images here look like animals or plants, but some seem to be symbols or pictograms, for example. Maybe a very, very early attempt at writing. Very early, 12,500 years even. Okay, let's look at something else. So this image is from a space called Cuerva de las Manos, which literally means the cave of hands. It is in Rio Pinturas, which is in the province of Santa Cruz, which is in Argentina, in South America. The cave gets its name from the cluster of stenciled outlines that you see here. These are stencils of human hands that appear on the cave walls. How were these images made? Look at them and think about how you would go about today making this kind of image. Think about it for a second. Using the hand as a stencil, right? So this is a little bit pre-Sherman-Williams paint stores or Lowe's or something like that, right? Where you could go and grab aerosol paint, spray paint to make a stencil of your hand, right? Hold up the hand and make a stencil spraying over it. How might Paleolithic people have created these? Well, what they did was they chewed up the pigment, so they chewed up the things that made the color, that made the paint on the wall, and then they would either directly spit it around their hand, like spitting the paint that they created around the hand to create this stencil pattern, or they have also found remnants of hollow bones, so bird bones, which are hollow, that date back to this time period, about 11,000 years ago, were found in this same site. So they would take these hollow bird bones left over from, eating the birds, right? And suck up the paint into them and then spray through the hollow bird bones onto their hands and around their hands to use the hand as stencils. We'll see as we go through this lecture that this is a technique that is repeated by other groups of prehistoric people in far distant parts of the world, which is pretty interesting. These rock paintings were made by hunter-gatherer communities, and they were estimated to have lived between 13,000 and 9,500 years ago, as determined from the remains of these kind of bone-made little paint pipes, right, that were used to spray the paint on the wall of the cave to create the illusion of hands. So keep an eye out in the next couple of lectures for where the same technique pops up in Europe and in Australia. Okay, so we see the same kind of technique happen time and time again. Another interesting thing is we can see the different sizes of hands and the distinctive hand prints. So we know this wasn't just one artist, but it was several artists, which is pretty cool. So think about this idea of collective consciousness and how different people in different parts of the world are doing the same thing at different time, or doing the same technique at the same time in different parts of the world. There we go, a little tongue tied. All right.